A man's world will be right if he is right. A quote made famous by one of YouTube's most infamous prison snitch influencers, Wes Watson.
Can you do 10? This is a serious question. Can you do 10? 10 weeks in GP as you first roll up? 10 months before they release you? Or 10 fucking years like I grinded through? Can you do 10?
The super successful, wealthy, self-made parolee who built an online personal empire like Hitler and the Nazis by screaming in his blogs like Jim Jones on steroids and exaggerating prison stories about himself or ethnic racial warrior pride.
By the time we get to 23, that's our number. We always yell out, supreme white power. I'm not the racist motherfucker. This is how it is in prison. I'm not racist at all. You get down with your people. I'm fucking telling you, this is how it is. You're not going against it. Done.
To motivate his young, misguided Anglo blue-eyed viewers to get in shape, both physically and mentally. Outlaw renegades. Just how much, though, of what Wes Watson's New Age Nazi prison shaman persona and ideology is real.
Why are they still talking? If you've never done it, sir, do not speak on it. These are the difference between the real and the fake.
Did in fact, Wes Watson really do 10 years in California's toughest prisons?
Or 10 fucking years like I grinded through. Can you do 10? What 10 do you crack at?
Was Wes Watson truly a successful marijuana dealer prior to incarceration?
But this is how it all began. I'm from Oceanside, California. Born and raised San Diegan. I was a surfer, skater, snowboarder. I just like smoking weed. I started smoking weed at like 13 or 12. By the time I was 14 or 15, I was like, fuck this, I need to get this shit for free. So the natural progression was to start slanging. So then, I just start pushing weight, slowly moving up the ladder.
Most importantly, was Wes Watson ever actually placed in one of California's prison's infamous maximum security housing units, aka the SHU, like Wes Watson and many other snitch influencers profess?
The SHU is the most militant place on planet fucking Earth.
For apparently being the toughest, most baddest convict to enter California's prison system, even more of a badass convict than the J-Cat Playboy president of SNY, that crazy Snoop, Maurice Vasquez. Now before we begin to pull off a social media drive-by roast of Wes Watson, you Outlaw Renegade viewers must be armed right now with your critical thinking beanies on before proceeding any further. The Outlaw does not intentionally attack snitch influencers out of hatred, jealousy, clout, or for financial gains. The Outlaw is a small, non-monetized platform and is run anonymously to prevent ego or fame from controlling this platform's direction or true purpose, which is to make you Outlaw Renegades think critically about who or why is influencing your views and opinions online. Today's society's opinions and views are heavily influenced or shaped by online social media influencers, individuals who the majority are obviously lying or putting on a fake online persona to help influence whatever it is they influence, such as sex, health and fitness, dating, or financial advice, beauty products, even gaming tips. You Outlaw Renegades get the picture. The Outlaw could have endless content by attacking other social media genre influencers, resulting in higher subscribers to this platform, which could add up to a small monthly profit if the Outlaw chose to monetize this platform. But then the Outlaw would be just a typical hypocrite like Gil from American Conformist. The Outlaw rather exclusively target or attack popular social media prison influencers, for good reason though, because they're not influencing sex, dating, employment, or financial advice, pushing toxic makeup products to their viewers. Some false promised weight loss diet? No, it's because they're not considered anti-prison influencers by mainstream media outlets. Instead, they're referred to as prison influencers. Social media prison influencers, such as Wes Watson, are influencing exactly that, prison. So consider the Outlaw a social media self-appointed humorous-style watchdog / anti-prison advocate influencer. The voice of the voiceless, the barrio and ghettos, those who are heavily negatively influenced and affected the most by what today's popular social media prison snitch influencers promote online. And you can help support grow this platform by simply hitting the like button or by subscribing today and becoming a YouTube outlaw renegade yourself against snitch culture conformity. Now let's continue revealing with what the outlaw uncovered about Wesley Thomas Watson's 10-year violent roller coaster inside California's prison system and Wesley Manson's infamous past as a local San Diego Beach Tony Montana-like kingpin of marijuana before incarceration. So, Outlaw Renegades, contrary to popular belief, the outlaw was unable to uncover any type of credible evidence which might suggest that in fact comic book convict Wes Watson was an Operation Paperclip genetically modified test tube baby who was birthed by implanting a San Diego blonde beach bimbo with super sperm from Charlie Manson, wrestling's Macho Man Randy Savage, Jim Jones, and super convict Michael Thompson to create a superhuman convict that could save the world one day. The outlaw was able to uncover, though, evidence that in fact Wesley Manson never ran a mid-level sophisticated marijuana business prior to incarceration.
So at this point, my boy, he fronted me like 100 pounds. It was some BC weed.
According to a 2012 court appeal filed by Wes Watson himself, highly intelligent Nazi fitness shaman Wes Watson threw away allegedly a successful $40,000 a week drug distribution network allegedly.
At this point, I'm making about 20 grand, 40 grand a week, blowing it like an idiot.
Which supposedly sold up to 30, even 40 pounds of allegedly high-grade cannabis to rob some small-time struggling drug dealer out of a pound of mid-grade BC marijuana. And also an extremely used laptop computer who apparently his memory was full of downloaded porn, which apparently also all took place at some tweaker-infested, sleazy rundown San Diego motel, not some luxury high-rise 4-star diamond hotel resort with valet parking, as Wes Watson would lead his viewers to believe. The outlaw's San Diego source, a guy the outlaw buys weed from when in the San Diego area, who also ran in the same circles as fitness Nazi Wes Watson during Watson's pothead Pablo Escobar kingpin days, claims Watson was a local small-time weed man who sold small amounts like quarters and maybe ounces to individuals, but wasn't moving pounds of chronic to anybody.
At this point, I'm making about 20 grand, 40 grand a week, blowing it like an idiot.
The San Diego source also claimed that in fact, Wes Watson was never known to be a wealthy cannabis entrepreneur prior to Wes's incarceration. That Wes was your typical average small-time pot dealer who smoked up most of his actual profits most of the time and lived with a mutual friend at the friend's parents' house prior to his infamous 10 years of incarceration.
We had dope-ass pads. One of my pads was like 1.6 mil. I had a fucking barbecue, a pool with a kegerator. I had a game room, stand-up video, fucking arcade games.
A claim the outlaw was able to corroborate according to comic book super convict Nazi Wes Watson's 2012 appeal. Charlie Watson's defense in his original 2009 case had the parents of a friend Wes Watson apparently lived with testify in Wesley Manson's defense. There was no mention of a luxury condo overlooking the Pacific Ocean, confiscated triple beam scales, or any money counting machines from Watson's Tony Montana mini mansion condo, as fitness Nazi cult leader Wes Watson professes to his audience of zombified fanboys. In further investigating Nazi fitness prison guru Wes Watson's backstory, the outlaw uncovered other claims celebrity social media snitch influencer Wes Watson made that are completely false, intentionally designed to glamorize himself like a typical self-centered narcissist, plus subconsciously glorify prison. Watson has repeatedly claimed to have served time in California prison's infamous security housing unit, the SHU.
A dancing clown upon the wall is calling all to City Hall.
The SHU is the most militant place on planet fucking Earth.
California's prisons, according to a CDC public information officer, prior to a 2014 Ashker versus California Governor Brown settlement, maximum security SHU units housed specifically prisoners CDCR had validated prison gang members or associates through a gang validation process. A small percentage of SHU prisoners may be housed in the SHU units without undergoing the validation process because either they're so mentally unstable and extremely violent individuals, or prisoners who cannot program safely on both general population or sensitive needs yards. The outlaw also asked if CDCR had security housing units in out-of-state private prisons with Oklahoma. The public information officer confirmed no out-of-state prisons such as Oklahoma had maximum security SHU units. Now, among many labels, Wes Watson's earned like Most Annoying Prisoner or Mule Creek Inmate of the Year. Receiving a gang validation packet wasn't one of them, or was comic book convict Wes Watson ever housed at a prison facility which contained a maximum security prison SHU unit, making Wes Watson's claims of one-time ex-SHU convict status a fabricated fairy tale.
A dancing clown upon the wall.
The SHU is the most militant place on planet fucking Earth. Every day, you're gonna wake up to 3:30 in the morning. Permiso a la tira!
Whose purpose is to subconsciously glamorize its prison experience, status, and SHU units as cool. Finally, after carefully examining Wes Watson's the only comic book convict to dispatch Michael Thompson apparently in combat's paperwork, the outlaw discovered Wes Watson was arrested in late 2009, in November to be exact, of 09. Watson was sentenced by a judge to 9 years in prison, not 10 years, as Wesley Manson so proudly bragged.
10 fucking years! Like I grinded through. Can you do 10? What 10 do you crack at?
Whose 10 years in prison famous fairy tale is further debunked when Wes Watson himself, the muscular, habitual, compulsive liar, interviewed for an Insider.com October 22nd, 2019 online story on the rising popularity of social media. Listen close, Outlaw Renegades. Prison influencers, not anti-prison influencers. Wesley Manson, the Jim Jones of Muscle Beach, told Insider.com reporter John Higginstein he, Watson, was paroled in December of 2017, making Charlie Watson's 10-year roller coaster of riots, burpees, and DPs inside California's toughest prisons really more like a soft level 1 and 2, 8 years at some Candyland, Camp Snoopy type environment. 6 months which were spent in county jail, totaling Wes's actual prison time at 7.5 years, half of which were spent on sensitive needs yards, the remainder at out-of-state level 1 and 2 private prisons, trying to encourage other non-actives like Studio Sureño rapper Bozo to get in shape.
Words are who you want to be, motherfucker. Action is who you are.
Instead of playing Xbox Live in his cell all day.
You can have an Xbox?
Hell yeah.
In your cell?
Hell yeah.
So you're able to play like Halo
Xbox
and shit?
360. I was on Death Space all day. You ever played Death Space?
No.
As you can see, iconic prison snitch influencer Wesley Watson's fantasies of racial riots, Nazi SS boot camp workout routines, doing time in maximum security SHU units, and being the shot caller for the whites without ever holding any gang affiliation are as real as his possible biological sperm donating father, Michael Thompson's Nordic Viking warrior battles against the entire Nuestra Familia regiment at DVI, Wesley Manson's delusional tales of being the Kid Cannabis, drug lord of San Diego's chronic community, are just a prison yard adaptation of Hollywood's glamorizing San Fernando Valley pot-dealing wannabe Eminem, Jesse James Hollywood, and Alpha Dog, a unrealistic, glamorous portrayal of the marijuana subculture of a movie starring Justin Timberlake that was released around the same time Watson was incarcerated. Hands down though, Wes Watson's Muscle Beach Jim Jones preacher rhetoric is inspiring overweight, self-conscious, blue-eyed online gamers to stop spending their free time online watching or listening to social media undercover law enforcement or agent provocateur informants talk about how great Trump is, or white pride means shooting up some public place or firebombing a building, to instead get off your ass and get in shape, eat healthy, plus change what one hates about themselves. Those were all good pieces of advice the outlaw does not deny, that I'm sure others have told Wesley Manson's fanboys before too. But do you think his fanboys worship those individuals like Watson? No, they don't. What other advice is Wesley Manson giving outlaw renegades on the subconscious level though? Fitness guru Reverend Wes Sharpton is subconsciously promoting the notion that if ever incarcerated, you have to be racist, no questions asked, even though Watson only did 1 year in prison himself before the end of hostilities agreement took hold, lowering racial problems on general population yards to record low levels. Wesley Watson subconsciously encouraged viewers to love being in prison, often going into steroid rages himself, chanting about how he loves it inside of prison. To be a non-critical thinker while incarcerated, to follow orders without question, to be willing to hurt others for racial pride, even though he himself, Wes Watson, never had to experience any of the racial tensions of California prisons at out-of-state, low-level, non-active, and SNY yards. Watson's subconscious teachings subconsciously contradict Wesley Manson's conscious belief system of independent free thinking, or to avoid becoming your typical lazy sheep-like follower type of an individual. Though Wes Watson is currently riding high on the perfect wave of fame and fortune and success, its foundation is built on a polluted ocean of egotistic, prison-glorifying lies, which will crash eventually like all perfect California beach waves. Then, when all the Hollywood social media fame, fanboy zombies, parole agent arranged interviews, and Wes's lucrative prison guard union sponsorship deal or protection all disappear, we'll see if Wes is able to self-motivate himself back under the spotlight of admiration and wealth. So before sensitive needs sensei shaman Wesley Manson indoctrinates you, social media outlaws, into his Nazi SS fitness cult and has you doing non-stop sets of burpees and squats in order to prepare you to walk up the driveway of some Hollywood Hills celebrity home, to have you, his loyal, obedient Watson family members, kick off his new age fitness version of Helter Skelter. Remember, the outlaw told you, a man's world is right if he is right, and Watson's world ain't right, it's wrong. So stay strapped with your critical thinking beanies on and always remain 113 or 114% activated, because there's a war out for your mind, you two renegades, and the only way to fight it is to become an outlaw. Like always, a clenched fist salute